Welcome back, this is Buttercrust with more Let's Play Diablo 3. It has been some time since I've uploaded anything Diablo 3 related to the channel, but that does not mean that I have not been busy with the game. We have, and by we, I mean Buttercrust and I, have been going through the game in both Nightmare and Hell difficulty. We're actually in New Tristram in Hell. Just so I can show off the character a bit. We're going to go over today not only my character, but also what you will be looking forward to in the rest of the Let's Play. We're not actually going to be leaving town or doing any gameplay really today, so if that's what you're looking for, unfortunately, that's going to have to wait just a bit longer. I have been busy with my Barbarian. My Barbarian is now up to level 60. We're close to the first Paragon level, just, a little bit more than a bar to go before we get some additional magic and gold find, but we are level 60. Got to it pretty early in Act 3, I believe I did, thanks primarily to the bonus experience on my helmet. I have kept that going. We will be going over all of the equipment and all the skills today and a couple stipulations for what we are going to be doing in Inferno Difficulty because it is going to be quite difficult. Here are my base stats though. Over 1500 strength. Pretty damn impressive if I say so myself. I'm sure some other people have better stats on that, but I'm very happy with that. Over 40,000 damage. Absolutely ridiculous. I can one-shot anything here. Of course, we're still in Hell difficulty. We have not started Inferno at all. Armor is at 5706. Damn good. Vitality's pretty good. Intelligence, I don't really care. Dexterity, once again, don't care that much. It's mostly about strength, damage, and armor for my character. In terms of where I got the equipment, damn near everything that I got is from the auction house. I still have some things for sale in the auction house. I still have some things in the stash that I'm going to sell. All this stuff down here will be sold in the auction house. Once that is done, though, I'll go over all the rest of the stuff in my stash later. Once that is done, Buttercrust and I are going to swear off the auction house for the rest of this run. We're going to go through Inferno, kind of going based on what the land gives us. We might try to go through Hadrig Eamon, but I haven't had too much luck with him. He doesn't even have anything in here, so what's the point? But I may try to give him some stuff a little bit later on and see if he does any good work for me, but chances are he's not going to. So all this stuff is from the auction house, but we are going to stop. We're not going to continue to look, try to get some of the best stuff in the game. We're not going to do that. We're just going to try to stick with what we have now. So, what I do have is the Defender's Denial, primarily looking for strength, resistance to all elements, regenerate life, not that great, plus 7 life, okay. The slot is for bonus experience, so I can get more magic and gold find. That would be much appreciated. If I could find something that would outclass anything that I have, of course, I will let you know when I do equip it, but it would be great. Shoulders are insane, 600 defense on that with 239 points to strength. I am a big fan of that. Lightning resistance is also good. Dexterity is good, but not necessarily what I'm looking for. The Disgust amulet, it has strength, critical damage, critical chance up, plus vitality. I mean, everything on this is just fantastic for me. In terms of the armor, I am on the protection gear with my best rubies in there. That's plus 34 strength. I put all 3 of those in there. I do want more strength, and we'll go over why I want strength primarily over everything else a little bit later when I go over my skills primarily. It does give me a lot of strength, plus resistance to all elements is always good as well. The bracers, I'm on the prudent defense, gives me strength, vitality, resistance to all elements is always good as well. In terms of the belt, I got the Pack Rat Scar. This does give me a lot of strength and does give me my damage dealt is converted to life, which once again is one of my favorite skills in the game. Has been since the beginning, has been since Diablo 2. Of course, it doesn't always work in Diablo 2, but it does work when I'm playing a barbarian in Diablo 3. And we have 314 defense on my gloves. Very nice. Increases my damage and my chance on critical hit and my attack speed. That is surprisingly good. I did not think it would do that much better than the plus strength in terms of overall damage, but increasing your speed is damn good. Damn good. Then we got the Thief's Blaze Ring. Does a lot for my damage, does a lot for my defense, increases my attack speed again. Plus it gives me a better chance of finding magical items, which is always a bonus. I'm not particularly looking for those anymore, but anything that you're willing to give me is, of course, very nice. Loyalty Slayer even on my other finger. Just strength, vitality, attack speed up, critical hit damage up. Just, if I get a critical, it's going to hurt.
Would be more lively.
I will kick you out of this party so fast, Enchantress. She's not level 60. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be using her. Strider's Lux Legs gives me strength, vitality, and resistance. So much resistance. Then I have the Echoing Fury. This was surprisingly cheap for something that did over 1,000 damage per second base. Then it also increases my intelligence as if that was needed, plus attacks per second, critical hit damage. Then I'll have a chance to fear on hit. That's not that great. Not necessarily what I'm looking forward to, but that 1,000 damage per second, I just could not turn it down, especially for the price that I was on. You can find some of this stuff for insanely cheap. Then I have the Veteran Stompers. It does give me a ton of armor, but it also gives me strength, dexterity, and vitality, plus resistance to all elements and an additional to cold. Very nice. Then I have the Killing Razor. Once again, over 1,000 damage per second, thanks to the minimum and maximum damage increases. Then another 48% damage increase, plus 192 strength. It's all about physical. And then my critical hit damage increased by 45%. So when I land criticals, it is damn good. Like I said, 44,000 damage total. In terms of the potions I'm on, I'm still on the Runics. It does restore 9,000 of my life, as opposed to the Mythic, which I'm trying to level up, or not level up, I'm trying to get more of so I can start to use it. That does 12.5. We'll probably get a lot of those in Inferno. I have not done Inferno at all. Buttercrust has, but he has not done it since they made a lot of changes to it, so he's not exactly sure what to predict when it's coming up. Last time he played Inferno, he was one-shotted by all the environmental traps. So hopefully that doesn't happen to us this time. In terms of life, I've got just under 38,000 life. So the 9,000, it's not that much, but it'll help. You know, it'll help a bit as we go along. Fury, it's still on 100. I really couldn't care less about that. But as you notice, it's full. We'll go over how that happened in a bit. But let's see what I have for my skills. I have Leap, which is surprisingly good. I used to do Stomp, but Leap turns out to be a lot better because it does pretty much the same thing that a Stomp does, except I can do it from a distance. Like that. There's a little bit of lag because I haven't fought anything yet, but damn, that is fun to do, especially into a group of enemies. On number 2, I still have Revenge. Revenge is still my favorite. I am getting away from these guys so they will shut up. Oh no, let's hang out over here. Nobody talks over here. Then we have Revenge, release a retaliatory attack that heals you with each enemy hit, increases the chance I provocation rune on that. I have Death from Above on that, which will stun the enemies, which is very good. Even on hell difficulties, I can stun the bosses. That seems a little overpowered to me. I thought they would be immune to that by now, but they're not. For the number 3 spot, I got Battle Rage, increases my damage and my critical hit chance for 120 seconds. Critical hits have a chance of causing the nearby target to explode, damaging nearby enemies. I do like that. So when I have that active, from 44,000 damage to just under 54,000 damage. So of course this is going to be active at all times. Now I also have Wrath of the Berserker going. Become Fury Incarnate for 15 seconds. I pretty much go Super Saiyan. Critical hits cause enemies to erupt and damage nearby enemies. Pretty much the same thing. I'm wondering if they stack or not. I'm hoping that they stack. So I'm at 53. Normally, this is how I'm going to run around, trying to keep the Battle Rage up at all times. And then if I go Wrath of the Berserker, we're under just around 75,000 with every damn swing. I like my build. In terms of left click, I got Cleave still. It will generate 5 Fury per attack, increases the damage done by Cleave, thanks to Broad Sweep. And then I have Whirlwind on the right click. It critical hits caused while using Whirlwind restore life. Of course, I have a lot of increased chance of critical hits and I have a lot of increased damage to critical hits. So I think it all stacks up and it should be very useful for me throughout the Inferno difficulty. In terms of my passive skills, I still have some things that I have had for a long time. I've got Bloodthirst, which does give me lifesteal, 3% base, just overall. And considering that I'm doing probably anywhere from 50 to 70,000 damage per second, 3% back on that is crucial, especially when I got Cleave going and I can hit multiple targets. That thing's going to save me. And that's why I primarily focus on strength over vitality, because I don't necessarily need a lot of health. I just need to do a lot of damage so I can just keep that health staying up. Part of my build does require that I keep hitting enemies in order to stay alive. So if I get frozen or trapped and I can't hit anybody, that's going to be a problem for me. Luckily, Wrath of the Berserker does allow me to free myself from a lot of those traps. So hopefully I'll remember when I get trapped by an elite or a group or anything like that, I can pop Wrath of the Berserker and get out of that. Next up I have Unforgiving. This is why my Fury Ball is full. I gain 2 Fury every 1 second. As a result, I don't need to spam Cleave all the time. I still will, because Cleave is a damn good move, but I can spam Whirlwind or Battle Rage or anything like that as I keep going. That's why Battle Rage should be on all the time, because it doesn't cost that much Fury. I should be able to get that back for 120 seconds, and I gain 2 a second. That shouldn't be an issue. Finally, I do have Nerves of Steel to increase my armor by my vitality. That's why my armor is so high. So that's basically how my character is set up. In terms of the things that I have been trying to get as many exquisite essences as possible. I'm up to 60. Also with the iridescent tears, I'm up to 26. This is the Inferno difficulty crafting materials. I pretty much have been crafting everything that I've come across, except for the stuff that I'm trying to sell in the auction house right now. And this is how much I've gotten as a result of it. Hadrig is max level. He's done. He's level 10. He's exalted. He doesn't really want to make anything that is useful for me, unfortunately. Pretty much the only thing that would be good would be like the mighty weapon, like maybe. But it is one-handed, but it only gives me 3 magical properties. It's not going to compete with anything that I could pick up somewhere else. That's pretty much all that he's willing to make. Maybe the sword isn't that great, but what I can do is I can find recipes for him to make better stuff as we go through Inferno. I hear that they stepped that up a lot from where it used to be. So we're going to try to find those, and hopefully when I find those, I'll have enough materials to try to make a few of them, probably around 3, and if they work out, I'll let you guys know. In terms of armor, he could potentially make something that's better than what I got, but chances are he won't, right? You can see here, this is exalted stuff. The exalted stuff, you know, the belt, the boots, they always start with exalted. This stuff requires tomes of training, the tome of secrets, in order to make those. That requires 10 tomes of blacksmithing. And this is all that they've been dropping lately. I assume in Inferno Difficulty, the Tome of Secrets will become much more common. So then I could start making these. In order to make any of this stuff, not only do I need the exquisite essences, for whatever reason I'm having trouble saying that, and the iridescent tears, I also need the Tome of Secrets, and I need quite a few of those. But even if I were to get those, there's no guarantee that it's going to be better than what I got. And that is one of the downsides of the auction house, and one of the reasons that Buttercrust and I have sworn off doing the auction house from this point forward. We're going to stick with what we got. We didn't spend that much money. I probably spent around 500,000. I probably had around $1 million when I started, and you know, I still have stuff for sale because I bought multiple ones trying to figure out which one's going to be best. So overall on this, I probably spent around 500,000, which is pretty easy to come up with. I didn't have to play the auction house in order to get that kind of money. But then once we're done, we're not going to try to find the best stuff there and play it. We're done. He's got actually probably around the same level stuff that I got. Overall, I remember last time I spoke to him, he said he had 40-something thousand damage going as well. Ooh, this could actually be better than what I have. Shut up. We're doing an information video here. This could actually be better than what I have, but, you know, it's probably not going to happen. Glorious is the same as Exalted, really. And even then, it's probably not going to be as good as what I have. It looks like this has at least 5 magic properties, and it doesn't have as much. Yeah, it's just like, it's probably not going to be as good. This has 5 magic that probably is 4 critical hit damage, and chance are probably linked, but still not as good. There's always a chance, though. There's always a chance that they could give me something that is better. This has the potential to be better. This is probably what I'm going to go for first, the Exalted Sovereign Tassets. That is the plan. This, though, I don't use shields. It doesn't seem to help out, so I'll avoid it. If you guys want to tell me that the shield is the way to go instead of the double weapons, but as far as I can tell, the 2 one-handed weapons is so much better. And then, I mean, look at this. This is the best stuff that he's got for shoulders. They're level 58. I don't even have this stuff anymore. I got rid of those. I upgraded them to the tier and the exquisite instead of the wishful. And that's the best that he's got. You know, salvage I don't need anymore. Repair, that can get quite expensive. But we are, that's the blacksmith and where I have him right now. In terms of my stash, once again, you can disregard all this stuff over here. I'm selling those and then we'll never see him again. That's going to be it for the auction house too. I do have the Hellish Staff of Hurting. We did go to Whimsyshire in the Hell difficulty just recently. Unfortunately, it's kind of anticlimactic still. There's not really a big boss. Even though they say it's harder than Act number 4, I'm kind of questioning that. I find a lot of tougher enemies in Act number 4 than the unicorns that I find in Whimsyshire. It's probably somewhere between 3 and 4. In terms of my gems, as you can see, I have a lot of flawless squares. They've been dropping these. I've been trying to level all these up as I go along, but unfortunately the highest that I can craft is the squares. So I have a ton of squares, and I can't get those up to the flawless just yet because my jeweler isn't good enough just yet. But this is what I have. As you can see, I got plenty of everything up to flawless squares, and all this stuff I'll probably like throw away. It's just not worthwhile holding on to those lesser things.
I have some new items.
Yes, I know. We're moving on. I just want to go see the jeweler, and then that's probably going to do it. Let's talk to Covetous Shen. This guy, he is quite important. I don't know the full deal with him. He's only to level 7, unfortunately. He requires a lot harder stuff in order to level him up. We require Tome of Secrets. I need 10 of those. I got 2, and if you remember, the blacksmith uses those too. It's tough. It is tough to get him the way that I want him to go. He can make a Tome of Jewel Crafting, but I only have 1 of those, and they're back in my stash. I do... Now, oh, I can make these, but I just need Tomes of Jewel Crafting. So there you go. I am up to flawless, but I need Tomes of Jewel Crafting in order to get that done. I can make them. And that'll probably be what I do before I get him up to the next level. Just continually working on that. Oh, there was one more thing that I wanted to go over before we did move on. I do have something in my stash here. Not the page of jewel crafting. I have this Black Rock Ledger, page 15. I found this somewhere along the line when I was training. I just wanted to go over this real quick because I did look at it as much as I could. Let's just read it real quick. After 3 straight days of this storm, I'm almost convinced that the ship has some sort of curse on it. Each week brings some new trouble that I have to deal with. I'm not sure what will give out first, the ship or me. Some of you may not pick up the reference. That's not too surprising, considering I didn't pick it up. But when I looked it up and I looked in the wiki and all this kind of stuff, this is a reference to Lost. Of all the things to find, I found a reference to Lost in Diablo 3. There are apparently 6 of these pages. I believe I have page number 3, even though it says page 15, there's only 6. I have the 3rd page, and you'll notice it starts with an A. That would, when you find the other ones, you'll find out it spells out Dharma. As far as I can tell, there's nothing that can be done with this. Everybody kind of agrees that they're just kind of there. They don't do anything. Just wanted to point that out before we moved on. So that's my character. That's my build. That's where we are right now. We will be taking on Inferno Difficulty. Now, when we go through that, just like in Diablo 2, I will be cutting out a ton of what we do. I'm going to be just kind of doing the highlights. We're not going to be going over plot. We're not going to be going over any of the basic fights, any of the talking. Buttercrust and I have pretty much been spamming that X button and the escape button to skip all that stuff. We're going to continue to do that, but anytime that we find a particularly tough fight, and boss fights, which, if you remember, are not as difficult as the random fights that you can find in the dungeon, which I still don't understand why they did that. We'll be doing that, and I'll be doing heavy editing, probably to the extent that you guys may have trouble figuring out exactly what's going on at any given moment, but we will be going over all the hard bosses as we go along. And I hope you guys do look forward to it, and I hope you do enjoy it. That's going to do it for this part of Let's Play Diablo 3. I've been Baller Scuba. I've been joined, as always, by my incredibly souped up and powerful Super Saiyan Barbarian. Hope you guys have enjoyed this part. Hope you laughed. Hope you learned. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.